Hey, Shalom. I like to give all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Aki who preach his word with truth and sincerity around the four corners. You know, like Elder Malcolm would be saying, risking their lives and freedom to do so now more so than ever, because the times are perilous. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that live amongst the heathen that look like the heathen. This is not a black thing. This is an Israelite thing. So Israelites gonna come looking like all shades and colors. You know, shalom to the speckled bird. And peace and salutations to the Akim and the few Aqua, the true believers of the hopeful elect. You know, just coming back in the spirit of theme of prophecy. Slovakia. Was watching a couple of videos, you know, of the Akim, the various Akim, the apostles, the elders. And I got a news article speaking about World War III. You know, really dealing with Russia and the U.S. And that's prophecy coming to pass. You know? So Salakia. I'm gonna read the article, hit a couple of precepts, the Lord's willing, this will be edifying. But you know, this is dealing with World War III, and it's right at the doors, you know. Salakia. All right, this is from Newsweek. And it says Russia issues nuclear weapons warning, no limits. And that's exactly what Esau doesn't want to hear. You know, like Salakia. Like you know, Esau doesn't want to hear the N word, and I ain't talking about nigga neither. You know, you say the word nuclear, and Esau gets nervous and shook up because he knows it's inevitable that his empire is going to come down going to end with a bang. You know, let's read a little bit of this, and I pray that this is edifying. You know, I'm trying to make this short and to the point. It says Russia no longer has any restrictions on deploying previously banned types of conventional and nuclear missiles. The Kremlin said on Tuesday, vowing to take appropriate measures if necessary. It says Russia no longer sees itself as limited on these types of weapons. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said, according to remarks published by Russian state news agency TASS, or TASS. It says Russia considers itself entitled to take appropriate measures if necessary, to take appropriate steps. It says Moscow's foreign ministry has said in a statement on Monday it no longer considers itself bound by previous restrictions. Slovakia. By previous restrictions on U.S. and Russian missiles with a range between Slovakia 500 and 5,500 kilometers. Yeah, so Russia's talking that talk. You know, they're gonna be able to hit Babylon the Great from any side, from anywhere. They launch their missiles. You get a quick precept that comes to mind. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, and it reads, and you see the heading, it says, a time for everything. It says, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Salakia. It says, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And we're clearly in a time of weeping and mourning. And soon we're going to be in a time to laugh and dancing, because this devil is going to be taken out of power by his own vices. Really, it's the Heavenly Father's weapons, but you know, by his own creation of the weapon. It says a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Here's the point. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And we're clearly in a time of hating. That's what people are doing all around the globe, and a time of war. We're clearly in that time of war. You know? The book of Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1. As you see the subhead, and it says prophecies about Babylon. It says the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. It said, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the head, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Salakia. Let me read that again. It says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. And the banner that you're commanded to lift up and exalt your voice is the Holy Scriptures. You're commanded to tell these people their destiny, you know, their fate, if you will. And in Babylon's fate is that it's going to be burned with thermonuclear and hypersonic missiles. Like, that's the fate. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. You know, people don't understand that like it tells you in Isaiah the 46th chapter, that the end was told, that the Most High declared the end from the beginning. So it was already predestined for Babylon to rise and to fall. The same way it came into power is the same way it's going out of power, and that's through violence. Let me skip down to verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. And the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, that's symbolic talk for those missiles. It's not literal people that's going to be in the mountains. It's going to be those missiles. You know? Because the scriptures is a book of dark sayings and parables. It says, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. You see? And that's not talking about a great people. That's talking about those missiles. Like it says, they come from a far country. That's the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. You know, they could travel from one country, from one continent to another in a short amount of time. I believe it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for a missile to reach its destination. And then shortening and the times is getting shorter with them advancing their technology. You know? You see verse 17. Let's skip down to 17. This whole chapter is good because, like I said, the prophecies of Babylon. But like it says, Babylon will fall to the Medes. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So you're not going to be able to pay off. Babylon's not going to be able to pay off its ass whooping that it got coming to it. It says, their bows shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of their womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Yeah, the Medes is the modern day. The modern day Medes is the Russians. You know, they're turning into that old Soviet Union like war spirit, and they're going to demolish the Babylonians on the shores of America. Like it says, they're going to dash the young men to pieces. That they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, talking about the babies, and their eyes shall not spare children. That means the children going to get it too. Like it tells you in Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, you know, when the Lord commanded the angel to neither spare, to let your eye not spare, neither have ye pity, slay utterly old and young, women and maids and young women, you know. But come not near any man that has the mark of exemption, that the Wah. Verse 19, here's the point. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. You see, and this is all throughout the scriptures. Matter of fact, before I get that, let me read the rest of the article. It says why it matters. It says then U.S. President Ronald Reagan and former Soviet Union leader Mikhail Gorbachev signed an agreement in 1987 known as the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces (INF) Treaty, which banned nuclear and conventional missiles are able to strike between these distances. It says the treaty is no longer in force and does not bind either state. Yeah, so all bets is off, basically. You know, neither side is bound by that treaty anymore. And like it said in Ecclesiastes, the third chapter, we're in the time of war, not peace. You know. Let me get another precept. This is the end result of America, aka Babylon the Great. You see, Jeremiah the 50th chapter, prophecy against Babylon. Is Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country." And this north country, in this particular precept, is talking about Russia. You know, an assembly of great nations. If you read Ezekiel the 38th chapter, the nations that there are specific nations that Russia is going to be a guard unto, and Persia, modern day Iran, is one of them. And you know that Israel is at war with Iran, and the United States tagged themselves into that war. And you know that Russia backs Iran, so we're going to see how that's going to play out, and and it's going to play out just the way the scripture said. U.S. the least of the flock is drawing them out, is drawing America out, and Russia's going to answer the bell by sending nuclear missiles, and these other nations are going to send nuclear missiles as well. It says, "And they shall set themselves in array against her; from thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man; none shall return in vain." Let me skip down. Verse 14. It says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord." You see? This is the end result of Babylon, aka America. Let me get 2nd Ezra 16th chapter. You see, you can start at the first and second verse. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria." These are all buzzwords and code words for America. It says, "Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand." Skipping down to verse 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow." And the bow is talking about those silos from where those missiles come out of. You know, the missiles is being compared to arrows. "His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." And when you look up, when you Google what is the end of the world, the ends of the world, it brings you to America. America is the fourth part of the world. It's known as the ends of the world, because after America there is no other land at the end of the world. And you know, just like how you read Hebrew and you write Hebrew from right to left, the missiles are going to be coming from the east, and they're going to end up in the west. And you know, just like the sunrise and the sunset, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Just that's the end result of Babylon. You know, it rose up, and then it's going to set, and now it's going to decline in the west. And this is beautiful. But Lord's will, you was edified. Till next time, we're going to say shalom to the elect. Get your house in order, man. You know?